let's go ahead and start off with the hockey news. As we've said, this is the last week we will have coverage for our NHL season because the Florida Panthers are our back-to-back champions.
Doesn't happen very often.
It happened most recently because Florida is absolutely dominating this 2020s decade. I'm not sure if you realize this.
Lightning, Panthers.
Florida representative has been in the last 6 Stanley Cups. The Panthers have been the last 3.
Oh yeah, because we beat the Lightning.
Lightning were 3 in a row, who we broke their streak. The Cup has been very happy in Florida these days. But yes, our Florida Panthers did the trick. They took out Connor McDavid and company in Edmonton for Game 5. Last we reported we were at a 2-2 draw. And Edmonton just really did not show up in that sort of must-win situation. Like, that was your potential last home game of the year. And it was 3-1, 3-0 before they even got on the board, thanks to Connor McDavid. And that was too little too late. 5-2 after empty netters, and everything was accounted for in that one, which took us to Game 6 on Tuesday night out in Florida. So the Panthers got to do it on home ice even. Pretty storybook ending for the Panthers. Putting to rest, I think, any notions, though, of this being one of the all-time great finals in Cup history. There's just been so many better ones.
Yeah, this one it had a good beginning. I will say that,
yes.
In through 4 games, we had 3 overtime games, 1 game which was kind of a little bit of a, I guess, not. It didn't happen again.
It looked like it was going to be a nice heavyweight battle, and then it turned out to not be so much of a heavyweight battle.
No, the Oilers kind of didn't leave round 1 in that fight, unfortunately. I don't know what to say there. It sucks. Again, Connor McDavid going home without a Stanley Cup trophy once again.
Not even a Conn Smythe to his name in this one.
No, no one on that Oilers team was, I don't think, deserving enough. We kind of talked about, they gooned it up in one game, which was kind of, I'm going to say, a little disgraceful for the finals. And then really you didn't have anything but except for the one spectacular outlier performance that you kind of put the belt to Florida, but the rest, Florida was steady all the way through. They were, like we kind of talked about, the same team through and through.
Yeah, built for the playoffs, knew what they were here for, and grinded out every series. Edmonton, I think, is, you have to look now at that's 4 years in a row now. They've made it to at least the Western Conference final, if not to the Stanley Cup final all the way, and this group just doesn't have the gusto. Corey Perry was not the answer. In fact, may actively be the problem. His curse remains active and is now up to 6 Stanley Cup losses altogether, which is unprecedented. I'm pretty certain. It's also already started our favorite off-season activity. Will the Edmonton Oilers fumble the bag on renegotiating with Connor McDavid? Will he become a free agent? He has 1 year remaining on his contract currently before he is up for free agency. So that means this is kind of the summer to hammer out the details of an extension, if that's going to be the case, if he stays in Edmonton long term. But maybe he goes to Toronto and fixes the Maple Leafs problems, has been a popular theory floated. Or maybe he goes out to the Vegas Golden Knights, who will do anything to their cap structure to fit a superstar in.
Because they would love to probably have him there. There is this notion, though, right, that you have to lose enough in order to win. They've lost quite a bit here. Where is that sort of fine balance between losing enough to figure out how to win and just...
Normally you consider those you have to learn how to lose things to happen in the first couple of rounds. And then once you're consistently making it to conference champions, finals, rounds, it's like, no, you know how to get here now. Now you just need to actually win the thing. And, in this case, I think it's kind of so. I did a little digging on this because my initial theory when I looked at the numbers, Connor McDavid, we hadn't really talked about him much this offseason. He put up 33 points, which was still the most in the league, tied with Leon Draisaitl. No surprise there. So 33 points he put up, but as far as his plus minus, which is you get a plus if you're on the ice when your team scores, and you get a minus if you're on the ice when your team gives up a goal. Connor McDavid was a +3. And so that is to me a pretty big indicator that your team is not playing very good defense. Because if you're scoring that much offense and not coming out on the plus side of things, what's happening?
Yeah, I'm curious because like he's been painted as sort of the lord of hockey for a while now, even taking some of
This was his 10th year. He came into the league in 2015. It is now 2025. He's had a decade-long run as, being the chosen one.
like at what point do we like I'm a little bit of a homer here. Like McKinnon has the Stanley Cup, he's just as good. When do we sort of dethrone him and make someone else the face of hockey? Like it would be very, very good for him to leave Edmonton and go to somewhere like Vegas that could use the juice once again. I think that's very Gretzky-esque, if I say so myself.
Yeah, I mean, I think, got to be a little bit of the notion that it's not going to happen if he's on a Canadian team. The curse is still alive and well, and they will not lift the cup again. I guess until Gretzky dies or something, maybe.
I don't know. They've been the closest the past couple seasons.
And they've been Canada's one and only hope, and I think it's an even crueler tease of them to get into the finals and give them that hope that maybe it's this year, and then they keep fumbling it. But it's all sorts of speculation. To follow up on my note about plus minus, so because I looked at it, I was like, okay, Connor McDavid is only like a +3 with his 33 points. Leon Draisaitl is like a +10, which is still not great considering how much scoring that's providing.
Where do you want to be on this plus minus? What is like?
So here's where my thinking went to next. I was like, okay, well, let's think about someone else who actually, when I looked at their stats, fairly comparable in terms of overall scoring production. What did Peter Forsberg's playoff performances look like? He was an elite talent, top of the game. What did he do? Peter Forsberg was a +52.
Like all time overall or
career, like with 250 points scored, and he was like a 150 differential or something. An absolutely insane number. And so then I followed that rabbit hole. I was like, oh, well, then let's see what Joe Sakic's plus minus numbers. Dear listeners, I have the utmost misfortune of reporting Joe Sakic was a -2 in his playoff career. His overall career numbers are all, he's like a -3 on his overall career numbers, but I did look into that one. That's because in the regular season, when he first started on the Quebec Nordiques, they were so awful. He was like a -70 in the first 4 years of his career, and he spent the rest of it climbing out of that hole.
To be fair to Joe, he did score when they needed it.
Joe was very clutch, and that is again the takeaway and the lesson in the playoffs is doesn't matter necessarily how much production you're getting; it matters when you're getting it.
Yeah,
and that is the lesson. There is the plus minus does not tell the tale all the time, but it is a generalization for what's happening with your ice time. Because I think it's also very easy to point out that. Just as the top line center in the playoffs, these guys tend to also just be on the ice the most. So it also kind of tracks that most of the plays happen while they're on the ice either way. So, that was just a little thing. And so that's going to be the kind of rumor mill around the NHL is where's McDavid going to go? Florida is going to enjoy their summer once again, partying with the cup. And then it's going to see which of those guys head off to get their payday in free agency. The Conn Smythe Trophy winner this year with 15 goals in the postseason is Sam Bennett, who now enters kind of unprecedented territory as the Conn Smythe winner going into unrestricted free agency. It's never happened before. So he's probably set to make himself a nice little payday. Original estimates had him in like a 7 to 9 million range. He might be pushing into requesting double-digit figures now. So that'll be probably the biggest name on the market. But Brad Marchand, who came out of his Bruins era and became a Florida Panther at the trade deadline, is also up for a new contract, and indications are that he's looking for about 4 years, and I believe in the also like 11 to 12 million range.
But good little contract there.
Yeah. Considering again the top right now is 12.75, and we'll bump up to, or no, it's 13 and a quarter this year. It's going to be 14 and a half. Will be Dreisaitl's kicking in next year, and that'll be our new top mark, which everyone will be trying to eclipse in our ongoing off-season negotiations. Other little NHL notes to be aware of as we head into off-season. Dallas has already started their cap crunch retooling. They have decided that they're sticking with Matt Duchene for another 4 years at $4.25 million. And so they had to deal, or $4.5 million, excuse me. Let me not deprive Matt Duchene of his $25,000.
Yeah, he's earned it.
Yeah. And they did have to move on from Mason Marchment, though, who was also on a $4.5 million deal. And he has been moved out to the Seattle Kraken for some draft picks. And the Seattle Kraken are doing a speed run of absolutely tearing down their franchise. They had just hired Dan Bylsma to be sort of like the guiding head of this seemingly like just about to climb into competitive ability roster that they'd spent a few years putting together. They had some young kids that they were actually developing, and some of the guys that they signed originally were like starting to find their role, and now it's all different. Head coach is gone. A bunch of new faces because they've been wheeling and dealing for half a season already in terms of cap movement. So Seattle is looking a lot different, and like they've kind of restarted on the roster building phase, which is interesting to see out of a team that was in the playoffs like 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, Brand feels like they didn't have the roster long enough to begin with.
Some strange management decisions up there so far in Seattle territory. And then our only other note for the NHL, we do have our Avs preseason schedule announced, which will be hitting us late September, early October. We're going to be playing home and away games against Utah, Dallas, and who's number 3? It's one of the other Central teams. Utah, Dallas, I think the Blues maybe. But the important note out of this one is that the Utah Mammoth, as we now know they are officially called, do not have a stadium to play in until games officially start. So both of those games are going to happen here in Denver. One of them will be at Ball Arena, but the other one will be happening the same day at an undisclosed as of yet location.
The only other location, if they're going to happen in the Denver area, is you go to the Eagles Arena.
You could go out to the Eagles Arena in Broomfield. They've done scrimmage games in the preseason before over at the Pioneers ice rink.
Oh, you could go there too as well, actually.
But that's a much smaller venue, I think, in terms of ticket sales. But I don't think they rely on preseason too much for ticket sales either.
No, but it is nice to have that extra little income. Don't know why you wouldn't go out to the Eagles, the other professional hockey, but
farther trip for
sure
whoever has to be the B team that day.
Sucks if you don't have a stadium.
Yeah, basically. And yeah, so that is kind of the end of our NHL season. Florida, possibly a dynasty, depending on how much shaking up we see from them. It in position seemingly as, for some reason, in the initial odds that came out immediately after the cup was awarded, the Avs were placed third most likely to win the cup next year.
You like that?
I don't, I do like that we're that high up there in the bet making world, but it's a little surprising because we did like even if you just went in order of how we like how the teams finished this year, that would have put us at like 7th or 8th overall.
Yeah, but East and West, I feel like a little also in the NHL a little different beast to go through for sure. And then the roster management issues that we had all season long. There's surely no possible way that we go through that again.
Well, yes, that we are going to be in a kind of funny position this year of being in possession of center depth and being on the end of deciding if we want to sell any of that for other roster hole management, which almost certainly will have to happen. But it's a new problem we haven't had in a long time. Too many centers.
Yeah, where can we find a center? We have all the centers now.
So we'll see if that's a better problem to have. I think it will be.
Make him a winger. Fine.
It's the easier solution. But yeah, that was hockey this week.